Hi, this is Angela with Parkrose Permaculture. It's the end of August 2017. I'm in my backyard garden. Just making a quick video. I'm out here ripping up dead things and starting to cycle out some of the end of summer produce and get ready to set up the beds for fall. And I've decided to let the poultry out for the first time since February. So they're super excited. The baby birds have never been out in this part of the yard. So the young ducks here and some of the young chickens have never been outside the poultry run, which is this large area here. That's the poultry run. So I'm letting them out and they're hopefully finding some worms and slugs and slug eggs and all sorts of good things, seeds. They're very excited. So this is happy duck noise. Super happy. We have 3 chocolate runners and 2 blue runners. One of them is still in the run. Oh, here she comes. Who are quite old, and then another chocolate runner that's inside with an injured leg that's 6. So very, very old. The 2 right here, blues, you can see that they're very old. They have a lot of white feathers. So we're standing in the backyard. I wanted to just briefly go over a few things. So here's our shed. We took 2 of the walls, took the door and half a wall off so we can get the wheelbarrow in and have easier access to the shed. It's all made out of recycled pallets and free scrounged stuff. And then this is the rain garden here. This is a construction project. We are residing the chicken coop. Here's the rain garden. Here's what it looks like in late August. It does very, very well. So this gets no water other than rainfall. Okay, and echinaceas are doing really well. The costumary is doing very well. It's about to bloom and provide some late summer food for the bees. Just about to bloom. Everything else in here does really well. The strawberries kind of take over. So these are native coastal strawberries, and they're here as a ground cover. They're very tiny and have an intense strawberry flavor, but they're smaller than your pinky nail. So mostly I pick them and feed them to the chickens. But they provide a ground cover. And then in dry weather, they tend to turn kind of red and a little bit crispy. And they also try and take over. So they don't look amazing in August, but that's okay. They're a great native ground cover. And they help shade the soil, right? And conserve water that way. So again, this is the rain garden. So moving down from the rain garden, trying to keep an ear on the chickens in the side yard. So we have a hose running down here because it's been over 100 degrees, and so I've been running the sprinkler for the ducks in the afternoon. And then I have beds where I'm ripping up things. So we've had an unusually scorching hot, dry summer, and I haven't really watered a significant amount. I try and let things just get by on very, very limited watering and conserving moisture with lots of mulch. So if yields are a little lower, that's better than spending water in Portland is very expensive. So scanning over here, you can see that this is the golden raspberry bed. We have fall gold raspberries, which are an everbearing raspberry. They produce 2 crops a year. So this is what they look like in the fall. They start to look a little bit sad. Here you can see this dead material here and this dead material here. This is where they fruited in June. So those are last year's canes that overwintered, and then they fruited in June, and they're now dead. I am not in here cutting back those canes yet because the canes that came up this year, so this year's new canes, are now fruiting. And I don't want to damage these developing berries, so I wait until this crop is done, which will be, maybe another several weeks, actually, if it stays warm. So these are the fall gold raspberries. Really, really good. And the second crop in the fall are larger. So what will happen is when these are done fruiting, is these dead canes that fruited in June will get cut out. These canes that are fruiting right now will get strung up to the wire and trimmed, and they will fruit again next year in June. So on one cane, they fruit twice. Once in August, September. It's usually like September. They're a little early this year. Once August, September, and then once the subsequent June. So that is a look at the everbearing raspberries. You have to just, if you want 2 crops a year, you have to put up with some dead branches in there until they're done for the fall. So moving over here, so this is one of my fall projects. I have these sea berries, which you can see I've hacked this one way back. So due to some mix-ups, I purchased 2 female and 1 male sea berry, and all 3 have turned out to be male. I have a 4th one that is actually a female. So I need to rip these out. So I wanted to show you what sea berries look like and why they can be problematic to remove once you put them in. Sea berries are sea buckthorn, Hippophi rhamnoides, and they were put in because they're a nitrogen fixing perennial shrub. The leaves you can make a tea from, and the fruit is extremely rich in oil, beneficial oils, and they're very high in vitamin C. Depending on the cultivar, you can have 3 to 8 times the amount of vitamin C in the equivalent quantity of orange juice. So okay, so I need to rip these out and put in actual females, because if I have 3 males, 1 male can pollinate, like 6 or 8 females, so I don't need 3. So this was, like this high, about like that, and I've cut it back and I've started hacking off the limbs, and because actually the leaves the chickens will eat a little bit, so I've been throwing it into the chicken run. But if you look down below here, so keep in mind this is August, it's been a hot summer, not much rain. I didn't plant as many support plants around here. So this is a sucker off of the sea buckthorn. So when you dig it out, you need to make sure to get the entire root, and this is a volunteer hazelnut. Which I may not be able to rip out because the ground is super hard right now. So when you plant your sea buckthorn, they can send off suckers up to 4 or 5 feet away from the parent plant. So here's another one. So when you remove them, if you have to remove them, you need to make sure to get all the suckers. What I found is that, again, the ground is really rock hard. After a rain, I can come through and yank these without needing to dig them up, and they'll come off quite a ways under the ground. So when I get a first rain here, I'm going to be digging up the parent, and hi ducks. I'm going to be making sure that I remove all of these suckers, because the males can be larger and more aggressive. When I replant with a female, I want to make sure that male suckers aren't still living in here and taking over. So eventually, one of the reasons I like that it suckers is that it can form a nice hedge. So that's the job of it over here, is to form kind of a hedge. From which we can harvest delicious fruit. But it needs some redoing. Behind it you can see the Hibush cranberry. Move through here. Hopefully not drag too many spiders along with me. Oh, there's one. This is a Hibush cranberry. It's actually a viburnum. I don't think it's an amazing substitute for cranberries. I find it slightly bitter and unpleasant even when cooked. It will be staying here because it's such good bee food when it blossoms, and it's such good bird food. One of my chickens, Cookie, particularly likes the fruit. It's also good shelter for lots of wildlife. So here you can see, again, male sea berry, sucker, 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 sucker. So that will need to get removed. So moving through here. This is our chicken coop, which we are resiting. We went to the rebuilding center of our United Villages and got some great, super cheap seconds cedar siding and redoing our chicken coop. So that's an ongoing project. I can't do the front of the coop until the Concord grapes are done, and I prune those back. I'm gonna come through here really carefully because I'm in the mint and it is just full of bees, chock full. So this part of the garden always gets really overgrown. As I come back this way, this is the persimmon, which is my Fuyu persimmon. I don't know if I can find it. It finally set fruit this year. There's like 4 fruits on it. So I'm super stoked to maybe get some persimmons in a few months. And back here in this corner, I do not water at all. And everything does really well. Actually, the persimmon has grown quite a bit. This gummy berry has really grown. Everything has done fantastically well. I only water baby trees the first couple years, and then I don't give them any help whatsoever. So in Oregon, we can have periods, excuse me for a second here, I'm gonna prune this grate back so that I can get through. We don't get rain typically for the end of July, most of August, and most of September. And the rest of the year in our part of Oregon, it's very rainy. So we do have these dry spells where the plants can require some help. But if you have mulched them really heavily and you have fed them well initially, and they're good, strong, healthy plants, they can get through that period without supplemental water. So I don't want to prop up weak plants. I want plants that can hold their own and survive without much care from me. So anyway, okay, so that's a little bit of a rambly video about some things going on in the backyard in late August. I have this apple tree, which has sent up a bunch of water sprouts, has tons of ripe apples, and I did not put out codling moth traps for that apple this year. So they are all wormy, but you know what? That's totally fine because that is for making applesauce. So I'm going to be peeling and coring and making applesauce over the weekend, this weekend, and canning all of that. I can some and I freeze some. And then some of the later apples are starting to mature and will be ready here in the next 1 to 2 months, depending on the variety. I also have lots of plums that are left that aren't mature yet. Multiple kinds of grapes that aren't ready yet. Grapes that I'm picking every day that are ready. So there's still a lot coming out of the garden. Also, of course, all of these raspberries. Yeah, so still lots going on for a few more months here. I'll have things I'll be able to pick all the way into October, including physalis berries and persimmons and medlars, things like that. Late apples. Yeah, so I'm going to go chase down my birds. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up. Please like our page. You can look me up on Facebook. It's just Park Rose Permaculture. I try and post there with some pictures of the garden and answer questions that people have. I have been pretty busy. I'm working on a book right now, so which is all about permaculture orcharding in the Pacific Northwest. So I've been really busy on that and a little bit less active on my Facebook group, but as the rains come back, I'll be more active on that Facebook page. So again, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and please feel free and leave your questions and comments in the section below. I will be back probably over the weekend with another video. Thanks.